I love how God and Jesus tell us to actually do things. Quite often we want to send our prayer requests up to heaven and just wait around for God to actually intervene on our behalf, when Jesus is actually saying in his word, you do it. When he was asleep in the boat where the disciples were trying to get across the lake of Galilee, and there was a massive storm that came up. That lake had storms that would come up quite regularly, and the fishermen there knew that the dangers of such storms. So they were quite rightly afraid of the situation that they were in, and Jesus was asleep in their boats. Prior to them leaving, he'd said to them, let's go across to the other side. So that was the instruction that Jesus gave them, and also the instruction that he gave to the supernatural world. I am going to the other side. Yet they were in the boat panicking big time because they thought they were going to die. Jesus wakes up, or they wake him up, and he's a little bit annoyed. He'd had a busy ministry day. They wanted to catch a few sleeps, and they woke him up and said, "Are you not afraid do you not care that we're going to drown?" And Jesus told the storm to be still, and immediately the storm was still. And the disciples were afraid again, but this time in a different way, about the power and authority that Jesus had to command the elements to be quiet. And Jesus didn't dwell on that aspect of what just happened. He dwelled on the aspect of the disciples and gave them a rebuke, because he'd said, we're going to the other side. So there's a lesson there for us to learn. When we actually have requests and needs before God, what does it say in his word about that issue? Because that should be our first port of call. And we can pray and intercede, bang our chests, rend our clothes, cover ourselves in sackcloth and ashes, or whatever you think that you want to do. Pray all night, pray in tongues, call a fast. You can do all those things, but you will be knocking on empty doors if it's something that the word says. You do it. So as Jesus spoke to the storm in that situation, I speak to the storm that may be in your life, and I say, storm, be still in Jesus' name. And I speak to you, Christian, my friend, rise up and do and be all that you're called to be. Blessings.